It's late at night. Your house is quiet. The only light left on is the one above your kitchen. Then, something begins circling it. Again and again. It bumps against the bulb, spins away, then comes back. You watch for a moment before saying the same thing millions of people have said. What a stupid insect! A few seconds later, you reach for a tissue or a slipper, ready to end its strange little flight. But before you do, there's something you should know. That tiny moth isn't flying in circles because it's confused. It isn't trying to annoy you, and it certainly isn't trying to get inside your home. In fact, it's following an ancient path that existed long before the first streetlight, the first light bulb, or even the first house. A traveler of the night. When the sun disappears, most of the world goes to sleep, but another world begins to wake. The air fills with creatures we've barely noticed. Crickets begin to sing. Owls take to the skies. Bats silently hunt overhead. And somewhere in the darkness, a moth begins its nightly journey. Unlike butterflies that depend on the sun, moths were built for the night. For millions of years they crossed forests and open fields, guided by the faint glow of the moon and the stars. Those distant lights never changed position. They gave moths a reliable way to travel in a straight line across enormous distances. It was a navigation system perfected by nature itself, one that worked almost flawlessly, until humans changed the night forever. When the stars disappeared, a single porch light, a garden lamp, a bright kitchen window, to us, they're ordinary. To a moth, there's something nature never prepared it to understand. Unlike the moon, these lights are incredibly close. The moth instinctively tries to keep the light at the same angle, just as it would with the moon. But because the light is only a few feet away, that simple instinct traps it in an endless spiral. It circles again and again, not because it's foolish, but because it's following an ancient rule that once helped its ancestors survive. The world changed. Its instincts never had the chance to. Not a pest, a survivor. The next time you see a moth fluttering around your porch light, remember this. You're watching millions of years of evolution trying to solve a problem that has only existed for a tiny fraction of its history. It isn't making a mistake, it's doing exactly what nature taught it to do. And yet, that isn't the most surprising thing about moths, because while most people think they're nothing more than nighttime insects, these quiet visitors may be doing something that affects forests, flowers, and even the food we eat. A garden that never sleeps. While the world around you grows quiet, nature is still wide awake. Long after bees have returned to their hives, and butterflies have disappeared with the setting sun, another group of pollinators begins its shift, moths. Most people never see it happen, because it's happening in the dark. As flowers open beneath the moonlight, moths quietly move from one bloom to another, collecting nectar, carrying tiny grains of pollen, helping plants reproduce without making a sound. Millions of these nighttime journeys happen every single night, and almost no one notices. The pollinators no one talks about when people think about pollination. They picture bees, maybe butterflies, rarely moths. Yet scientists have discovered that many plants depend on nighttime pollinators just as much as daytime ones. Some flowers don't even release their strongest fragrance until after sunset. They're not calling bees, they're calling moths. Bright white petals, sweet nighttime scents, long narrow flowers filled with nectar. Every detail evolved for one purpose: to attract visitors that fly beneath the stars. It's a partnership that has existed for millions of years. One depends on food, the other depends on survival. Together, they keep nature in balance. More important than they appear. Moths don't just help flowers, they help entire ecosystems. Their caterpillars become food for countless birds. Adult moths feed bats. Spiders build their webs where moths often fly. Even tiny mammals rely on them as part of the food chain. Remove enough moths, and the effects don't stop with insects. They spread through forests, gardens, and the wildlife living all around us. Sometimes, the smallest creatures support the biggest systems, the cost of every porch light. Modern lights have changed more than the way we see the night. They've changed the lives of creatures that evolved under the moon. Every year, countless moths waste precious energy circling artificial lights. Some never find food, some never reproduce. Others become easy targets for predators waiting nearby. A simple light bulb may seem harmless to us, but to a moth, it can become a trap that lasts until sunrise. And yet, even after everything these insects do for nature, most people still think of them as nothing more than annoying pests. But the truth is, we've misunderstood them all along. The next time you see one, the next time a moth begins circling your porch light, don't be so quick to call it foolish. Remember, that tiny insect isn't trying to invade your home. It isn't trying to bother you. It's following an ancient instinct that once guided its ancestors beneath the moon and stars for millions of years. That instinct worked perfectly. Then, in just over a century, humans filled the night with artificial light. The moth never chose this new world. It simply inherited a map that no longer matches the sky. A creature doing its best. Imagine setting out on a journey, using directions that have guided your family safely for countless generations. Then overnight, every landmark disappears, every familiar sign changes. You wouldn't be lost because you were foolish. You'd be lost because the world around you had changed. That's the story of the moth. Every light it circles, every window it approaches, every porch lamp it mistakes for the moon, is a reminder that nature is still trying to adapt to a world we've transformed. More than just a night visitor. It's easy to overlook small creatures. They don't roar, they don't soar above mountains, they don't become the stars of wildlife documentaries, but they quietly hold ecosystems together. Moths pollinate flowers while we sleep. They feed birds before sunrise. They sustain bats throughout the night. They help forests, gardens, and wild landscapes continue to thrive without asking for recognition, without asking for thanks. Sometimes, the smallest lives carry the greatest responsibilities. The next time you switch on a porch light and see a moth gently circling through the darkness, pause for just a moment. You aren't watching a mindless insect. You're watching a traveler guided by instincts older than human civilization. A quiet worker of the night, a hidden pollinator, a vital piece of nature's delicate balance. It isn't lost. It's simply following a path written millions of years before our world began to glow. And perhaps that's exactly why it deserves a little more understanding. Every creature has a story, even the ones we ignore. Here at Yafa Wisdom, we uncover the hidden lives of the animals, birds, and insects that share our world, revealing the science, the mystery, and the wisdom behind nature's smallest wonders. If this video changed the way you see moths, subscribe and join us every week for another unforgettable journey into the natural world. Until next time, stay curious, because nature's greatest stories are often flying right past us.